Well, that was an unmitigated disaster. No, actually, I don't think that's an exaggeration. Unmitigated disaster is precisely the right term. Well, let's go over what happened again, shall we? We're here at this conference for an exchange of knowledge between the royalty and nobility of other nations. A fair, equal exchange. As the director of the conference said, everyone here is on equal footing. It only took one person to say, "Oh, but someone here doesn't have feet," for everyone to decide that I can't be taken seriously. Anytime I said anything at all, I was met with some sort of pun about snakes. It's only the first day of the conference, and already racism has been established as an acceptable discourse. If that's not an unmitigated disaster, then I shudder to imagine what you think qualifies. I'm sorry to snap at you. It's just humbling, I suppose. It makes me realize just how fortunate I was to meet the exact people I did. People who were either open-minded enough to accept a Lamia as a business partner, or greedy enough to be more interested in how I could make them rich. I almost forgot that luck had as much to do with my success as skill. That's very flattering. You know, there are wealthy people who pay people just to say things like that to them all day. You might be better off leaving with one of these other nobles. Being a Lamia in a human-dominated part of the world is always going to leave me at a disadvantage. No, you're right. I shouldn't say that. I'm happy to have you in my employ, and I'm more than capable of providing for your needs. I'm just so discouraged now. At any rate, I think the obvious thing to do is just leave. Well, what other choice do I have? Nobody is taking me seriously. I can't contribute in any way if I simply sit and listen the whole time. They'll just gossip about me being clueless and useless. Oh, believe me, gossip can matter quite a bit when it's between powerful people like these assembled here. Reputation is crucial for a noble, and it's been difficult enough for me to maintain mine without exposing myself to something like this. Fine. That's reasonable, I suppose. No reason to leave this very second. It would be better to start our journey in the morning anyway. Turn things around? Well, I certainly envy your optimism. It couldn't hurt to consider it, that much is true. Turn things around. How would I go about doing that? I can't do it on my own. A single noble can't simply demand that they be acknowledged. I'd be seen as childish, and it would have the exact opposite effect. Ideally, I need an ally, someone who can back me. It could be as simple as having them asking that I be allowed to continue after I've been interrupted. Polite and non-confrontational, but it would stop those ignoramuses in their tracks. They couldn't do it again without being seen as boorish. The problem is finding that ally. It's rotten, rotten luck that nobody I know is attending this conference. I'd need to get someone on my side immediately. Another day of this would be disastrous for my reputation. I need to relax for a while. I can't think like this. Go down to the kitchens and fetch me some tea, will you? You know the kind that I like. No, no wine. I need to be completely sound of mind for this. You were gone for quite a while. Surely you couldn't have gotten that lost. Oh, you're looking very pleased with yourself. What's this all about? I'm not sure I understand. You think you found an ally? As in... Really? All on your own? And so soon? What exactly happened? Who is it? Lady Matriel? Yes, I believe I've heard of her. A noble from... I can't remember which country exactly. I know it's part of the Eastern Kingdoms Alliance. As I recall, she was instrumental in the Alliance's formation. And wait, you're saying she wants to help? What did you say to her? That's certainly a straightforward approach. And why did you choose her? Did you even know who she was? Kind eyes. Not usually the best way to judge a person's character. But she is highly respected, and she's well known as a wise and just woman. So who am I to argue with good results? Did she tell you which room she's staying in? I assume she's interested in meeting with us. Fantastic. That should work very nicely. Oh, of course. The tea. Thank you. That can't have been easy for you, approaching a perfect stranger who is certainly rich and powerful and asking for a favor. It takes a great deal of bravery to do what you did. Thank you. You know, this reminds me of something. A challenge I faced earlier in my own career, and one that proved extremely important to my success. I had just been put in charge of my first caravan. Calling it a caravan was generous. It was 2 medium-sized carts. Of course, the main reason I was in charge was so that I could create a regular trade route with my Lamia kin in the Slake Desert. You'll recall that they won't allow humans in unless they're accompanied by a Lamia. As much as I complain about the close-mindedness of humans, my own people are potentially worse. I always knew that law would be problematic. My presence couldn't always be guaranteed, especially if I wanted to ever have more than one caravan. I needed to change Lamia law to allow humans in unaccompanied if I wanted to have any kind of real success in my new career. Which isn't something easily done. Lamia are ruled by matriarchs. In this case, the title is quite literal. A single Lamia matriarch can be responsible for birthing hundreds of children. It might have been easier if I could have struck a deal with my own mother, but she lived deep in the desert. We needed a deal with the matriarch who lived near the border. She alone would have the authority to decide who entered. But it's dangerous to question a matriarch's decision, especially for a Lamia as young as I was. It was terrifying to say the least. My whole upbringing and even my very instincts told me not to do it. But to my surprise, the matriarch was amused by my boldness and intrigued by the advantages that my deal offered. I suppose I'm telling you all this to say that you remind me of myself. In some ways, you're stronger than I was. My future depended on seeking the favor of powerful people. You didn't have stakes that were quite so high, but you could easily have just followed my orders. You wouldn't have to be any worse off if you hadn't approached Lady Matriel. So, thank you, my servant. You've proven yourself worthy at every turn, ever since your very first day where you passed my test. You have a very bright future ahead of you.